Welcome back to the Mulberry Book Drop. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
We're doing it again.
Yeah, we are.
Season 3, Episode 2.
Woohoo.
So, tell me something good.
I finished the 2023 Adult Reading Challenge at the Mulberry Public Library.
I'm so proud of you. It's only June, and you didn't think you were going to do it.
I didn't. I really didn't. I prepared in December of last year. I said, let me make this list of books that I'm going to read from all these different countries. I didn't read a single one of them.
If you guys don't know the Adult Reading Challenge, and there is still time for you to do it, but we challenged our 18 and over crowd to read 12 books that take place in 12 different countries. It's actually easier than you think if you're willing to research a little bit or maybe pick some countries you're interested in and we can help you find books.
It is. There were quite a few of the books that, I had no intention. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to read the books. And then it was oh, it's actually set in a different country.
Yeah.
And I was oh, it counts?
It sure does.
So I literally just finished my last one.
I love it.
Today.
So just out of curiosity, for those 12, do you already have kind of one that maybe stands out as your favorite, or do you have to think on it?
Oh, no. There are, 3.
Okay.
There are, 3 that 4?
Whoa! Okay.
4. Now, there were a couple that I was never again.
Yeah. But
there were, solid 4 that I really loved, and they were 4 that I had no intentions of, actually... I mean, I knew they were set in different countries, but my mind was oh, it'll go towards the challenge. That didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
I actually just read them because I wanted to read them, and I loved them.
That's awesome.
And there were a couple that I didn't even realize went to different countries, and I was oh. And I was this is weird. They're not talking like Americans.
Well, I look forward to seeing your final list, and I'm really excited to figure out your official mileage.
Me too.
That's going to be exciting.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, my youngest turned 14. I know. So it's really exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's such a fun kid. And he challenged me for his birthday this year. He picked a Battenberg cake,
Ooh.
Which I don't know if they're really common here, but they're really big in England.
Okay.
And I had to buy a special pan for it because it's the cake that ends up looking kind of like a checkerboard in a way. So you have to make 2 different cakes, and then you have to stack them so that they're every other. Ooh. And you connect them with frosting, and I had to put marzipan around it. And my marzipan wrapping skills, not top notch yet, but
What's
I'm going to practice. It is a little, it's not as sweet as fondant.
Okay.
Right? You've had cakes right?
Sweet.
So
Ugh.
Fondant you don't normally eat. It's more really sweet, and I think it might be made with marshmallow. I'm not even sure.
Gotcha.
I don't eat fondant. I can't, it's too sweet for me.
Mm-hmm.
But marzipan, they actually make candies and stuff with it too. So you roll it out nice and thin, and you wrap it, and the one of the first ingredient is actually almonds. So it has more an almond paste taste to it.
Yum.
So yeah. And then the other thing that I didn't know about Battenberg is between the cake and the marzipan, there's actually a layer of apricot preserves.
Okay.
Which was really delicious. So the cake it had chocolate, a cocoa section, and then a orange flavored section.
Yum.
And then in the buttercream frosting that you use to kind of hold it all together on the inside, that also, instead of using milk or whatever, it was with orange juice.
Ooh, that sounds
delicious. So that
delicious.
gave it more that orange flavor. So yeah, it was really good. But it was kind of amusing because at Craft Club recently, one of our regulars who I help at least once or twice a week, mm-hmm. I said something and she was like, "You have kids?" And I said, "Yeah." And she was like, "One?" And I said, "No, I have 3." And she's like, 3? And then she's like, "Well, how old are they?" Thinking that maybe they were little. And I'm like, "I think I'm a little older than you think I am." And I was
mm-hmm.
my oldest just turned 18. And she was completely baffled. So it was kind of funny that I'm for 4 years I've been helping you once or twice a week, and apparently I've she must be the one person who's never actually heard me talk about my kids.
That's funny.
Because I talk about them a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
In a great way. They're great.
Yeah. So, and shout out to Camden, happy birthday, because he just got his cell phone, and the first thing he asked was, "How do I put something on here so I can listen to the podcast?" So he's now listening to us.
Let's go. Come on. That's amazing.
And he started from the beginning, which is really funny.
Aww,
so, yeah.
I love that.
Him. So, all right. Do you have something funny?
I do.
What's up?
So, I know you know this, but our viewers may not know this, but I love to perform
Yeah, you do.
It gives me a thrill. And if you don't know, that's from Pitch Perfect. That's a line. Anyways, so a friend and I went and saw the new Little Mermaid the other day. And I loved it. There's just one character I didn't like, but besides that, I did love it. I'm not going to say, because if you haven't watched it, I don't want to ruin it, but you'll learn quickly.
Well, and they might feel differently. You never know.
Exactly. So, but me being who I am, I had to be a star in my living room. And if you didn't know, I live with my brother, my sister-in-law, and my niece, and I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. So my niece was sitting on the couch, and I was putting on a performance, and I was singing Part of Your World. Okay. It was going great. It was going good. I was hitting the notes. I was hitting the stances. I was, being dramatic. And my brother comes and sits on me right in the middle of the performance.
What?
Yes. So now the show must go on. So now he's sitting on me. I'm laying on the floor. He's sitting on me. And now, granted, y'all, okay, I'm 28. My brother's 30.
So I first pictured you standing and singing, but now you're saying you're laying on the floor. So I should know, were you like pretending to be a mermaid?
Yes.
So you were already on the floor?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because, she's a mermaid. So I
have
to be
a whole
mermaid.
different image now. Okay.
So my brother's now sitting on me, but the show must go on. I'm losing air. Because, my brother, he's not small. He's like over 6 foot. But the show must go on. So I'm still singing, still doing what I need to do. And my niece is laughing hysterically.
Obviously.
Of course. And, it gets to the ending part, and I look up, and my sister-in-law's recording the whole thing. Now, because of copyright issues, I'm so sorry, guys. You will never get to see the performance of my life. But just know, it was a good time, and I delivered.
I need to see this video.
It was so funny. And then, so I'm singing, and I'm laughing hysterically, while he's sitting on me.
Yeah.
But when I laugh really hard, no laugh comes out, and I wheeze. So it was a wheeze coming out, and I'm trying to sing Part of Your World. And it was so fun. It was a good time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So what about you?
Well, mine's also water related because we had our annual beach day.
Oh, fun.
Yes. So we just a couple years ago, we tried a new beach and we loved it so much, and we decided we're going to make it an annual trip because, we're in Florida, but we're not right next door to the ocean.
Right.
So it is kind of, you have to plan, right? So with all of our different schedules, to say we're going to do it once a year and just always have it be that same Sunday every year, it just makes it easier for us. So this was our 3rd annual beach day.
Okay.
And off we go to Vero, and we love this beach. The waves are usually bigger, the sand is perfect, it's not very crowded because of the time of year, because people up north are still in school, so less tourists and all that kind of stuff too. The water's too cold for the Floridians, it's perfect for us. So it's just win-win all around. Well, we go in the water, and we first, I always make them take pictures first, and then I'm let's put the phone away and now we can just have fun. And so we put everything away, and we all go back to the water, and we got our boogie boards this year because last year we were we don't have boogie boards. And my kids are Mom, you forgot to take off your glasses. And I was I wore my glasses last year, I'm fine. And they were Mom, why would you wear your glasses? I was so I can see. I was it's fine. And I do the boogie board a couple times, and then all of a sudden this big wave starts coming. And I'm yes, this is mine. I am going to rock this one so hard, and I'm going to go all the way up onto the beach. And this wave comes, and it goes over me. I do a full flip under the water. I bounced off of the bottom. It was one of those, you just all of a sudden are I'm just going to roll with this for a second, and then I will pop up. Let the water do its thing, calm, I wasn't scared. It was totally fun. But I did a full flip, bounced off the bottom. I come up out of the water. My hat's gone. My glasses are gone. The boogie board's gone. Oh. And my kids are just looking at me. A second wave comes, knocks me down again, and then I get up again. And, one of them saved the boogie board. One of them saved the hat. We never found my glasses. Oh. So, for those of you who know me, my signature purple glasses are now one with the Atlantic Ocean, never to be seen again. But if anyone's in Vero Beach and they wash up on the shore, you can mail them to Mulberry. And
oh no!
They were Mom, I told you. I was it's fine. I'm I got another pair at home. That's why we go to America's Best and get the 2-for-1.
Yeah, which I do love those glasses you're wearing right now.
Thank you.
Those will be your new signature.
Yeah. Well, we got to go get our eyes done again anyway, so I'll have new glasses soon too. But
go ahead and make my appointment with you.
Yeah, you can come with my family. But yeah, so that was our thing. And of course, the whole I told you so.
Yeah.
So it was worth it. It was so, and man, those boogie boards, that was fun.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Oh, your poor glasses.
I love being able to go do stuff like that and just like be a kid and not have to worry.
But you know what's exciting about losing your glasses? Is there's a little mermaid down there in the ocean
who for has the first time.
Who has those with her collection. Because isn't it neat?
Isn't it neat? It's so true. Oh, and there were dolphins. But I couldn't see them. Oh. Because... my husband was like, oh my gosh, dolphins. And I was like, what? Where? And like, everybody on the beach is looking at these dolphins. And the lifeguard even got on his board and like swam out to try and get closer and like see him. I'm crying and like see him for a minute. And I'm just like looking out at nothing.
Where?
I was like,
where are they? I cannot find them. I'm going to believe you because everyone's looking that way, so I'm going to take your word for it.
This is just a little snippet of what life is like with me. I don't know how. Oh my gosh.
That's too funny.
So anyhow, back on track.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So, Sarah.
Yes.
The other thing I wanted to make sure we talked about today.
Yeah.
Summer.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to tell our listeners about summer programs at the library this year?
This is definitely probably one of my favorite themes that we have had, and it's called All Together Now. Also, my favorite shirts that we have gotten.
I love
They're
them.
so bright and colorful. I do too. Such a good time. We have so much summer stuff going on. We have your regular favorite programs happening, but we also have added programs. So every Friday at 10 a.m. in the Civic Center, we have a big program happening. So we have an outside guest coming in, and they will be putting on a show, a performance. It's going to be a great time. It's a lot of fun. The kids always love our different, what is it called? Shows. People. You can
It's large programs is what I always call them.
Okay, yeah, those are so much fun. We have film club, we have book clubs, we have cookbook clubs, we have craft club, we have literally everything that you can think of for adults and kids. So if you come to one, you're sucked in and you have to go to all of them.
It's true.
Love them. So yeah, come join us for the summer. And what else do we have going on, Bethany, for summer?
We have the reading challenge.
Yeah, we do.
This challenge, just as a reminder, it's for all ages. So similar to what we did last year, we have bookmarks available for you at the library. You do not have to create like an online presence or anything to log your minutes. You just use bookmarks. This year, each circle on your bookmark is 30 minutes. And so each bookmark is a total of 6 hours of reading. And when you hand them in, we use those to draw prizes for all age groups. And we'll call you with the information you put on the back if you're a winner. So we have weekly prizes, and we also have our larger monthly prize that's going to happen at the end of June and at the end of July. So the big thing to know is last year you guys crushed it with this challenge. So we actually upped the minutes by another almost 30,000 minutes. So our total this year that we are trying to hit is 150,000 minutes. We've had a lot of bookmarks starting to come in. I would really be excited to see a few more. So we'll probably be putting our first official number maybe on the window on Friday. So when I count this week.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see if we can hit our number. I think we can do it.
I have one thing to say. Let's get it. Let's go.
I love that. Also, if you stop into the library, you have to see our tracking window because it's super adorable this year. Our co-workers really hit it out of the park with this one.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cute.
So fun.
And if you look at it, you'll see a fun little surprise on our airplane. It's adorable. It makes me laugh every time I walk by it. So I love it. Sarah.
Yes.
Why are we here today?
To talk. Just kidding. We are here because of vampires, and more vampires.
Surprise!
Ooh.
You guys never saw that coming, I'm sure, because if you think about the books that we normally talk about, this would probably be the last thing that maybe you would be expecting, and we sort of threw you a curveball. Yeah. But this idea actually came from our Mulberry Read a Latte Society.
Ooh.
Yeah. During our May meeting, we were just kind of talking, and we came up with the idea that it would be really fun to revisit a book from our past. And then in June, when we met up again, we would tell each other, like, what book did we pick? Why? Did it hold up? All that kind of stuff. So I had to think really hard about what I wanted to read. Mm-hmm. I really had, like, a list that I was kind of going through because one of the ladies was so cute. She was teasing me. She said, you can't read Judy Blume. I said, I'm not going to read Judy Blume. So I actually went back to high school. And I picked Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. Yes. I actually remember reading my mom's copy when I was in high school. I know a lot of other people were sneaking like their moms, Danielle Steele, Jackie Collins, that kind of stuff. But for some reason, I went for the vampire novel. I don't really know like what I assumed at the time. I was trying to remember, and I think it was more like, ooh, maybe it'll be like dark, mysterious, dangerous, dare I say sexy, right? Like, you know... Yeah. But rereading it, it really hit me. Like, our main character here, our main vampire, like, he was not lucky to be immortal. Like, he was suffering from immortality. And I think the idea that I had as a teenager versus seeing it as an adult, like, the sadness, the loneliness, this endless life of, like, grief and despair, like, it's actually pretty dark.
Yeah.
So, did I still enjoy it? Yes. Is it still my version of what a vampire truly is? Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. That part of it really held up to me. So I brought this idea to Sarah thinking if she'd be interested, maybe we could use it as a podcast episode. Mm-hmm. And so what did you decide to read? And do you have any first thoughts about then versus now?
Yes. So I read Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead. I believe that's how you say her name. And it's a whole series. And I absolutely devoured it when I was a teenager.
You read the whole series as a teenager, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If I didn't read the whole, I think there's like 6.
Okay.
It did not hold up for me. It did not. It did not. I absolutely won, like, high school Sarah, that I think that's all I read were vampire books. And so I think basically what I did is I took my favorite parts from this series and my favorite parts from a different series and, like, intermingled them in together.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
Because, like, I read it and I was like, this isn't exactly how I remember it. And I was like, what about this? And I was like, that's from a different series. So,
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, so I can definitely tell I'm an adult now because the choices that were made in the book bothered me. For sure.
Okay.
For sure. The age, like, I don't know what it was because I watched shows and I read books where there was always, like, this teenage girl and then, like, her mentor or her teacher and, like, they get in a relationship and you're, like, shipping them. And I was like, now I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You could never.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. So there was an age difference between her and her mentor. So I have an issue with that, but also him being her mentor because that's not okay. And, like, I'm not saying I'm dogging it because if you love it and you still love it, that's great. But these are just my opinions. And I'm just not really into fantasy anymore, especially vampire stuff, I've learned. So I think it took me a little bit to read it and I was like, I'm kind of struggling. And then because when I first started it, I was like, I'll just reread the whole series. I finished the first book and I was like, and I'm done.
You almost have to wonder if it's... So we both were probably around the same age when we originally read these books. Mm-hmm. And so you almost have to wonder if it's like, at that age, your world is smaller, right? Like, so even if you do have a car, you're still only allowed to drive so far. And, like, maybe you're only driving to work or you're only driving, so your world is small.
Yeah.
And so to read something like this that makes the world seem so big and mysterious is exciting.
Yeah.
Well, now you're an adult.
Yeah.
And you've traveled and you've learned things and you've met more people and you've learned lessons from them too. And so now when you reread and you're just like, oh, that's not,
right.
Not, so you have, like, these different feelings about it. So
Yeah, when I was reading it as a teenager, I was like, I want to go to this school.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds amazing. Like, all their days and nights are backwards, and like they go to class at night and they sleep during the day, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And like they're constantly in battle,
like,
and
that seems so fun, and now you're like, I need to go to bed, it's 8:00.
right. So but you're like, they're in battle and all this stuff, and now I'm an adult and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to be in battle. Like, I want to take a nap. Like, I don't want to be attacked. Like, no, what is this?
Yeah.
So it unfortunately did not hold up, but High School Sarah will always love the series, and so we'll just keep that in mind.
Well, and I think that's completely acceptable.
Yeah.
I think that's completely acceptable.
Yeah, so, but I also, yeah, I think that was just it for me.
Okay.
For the book. What about you?
Well, so when I finished, because this, like I said, it did still hold up for me. So I looked up some information about Anne Rice, because I think I just always like, yeah, I know who she is. Sure. Yeah. And I didn't really think anything of it. So because of the way I run my book clubs, like when I finish books, I start researching authors and all, so I had that like feeling that I wanted to do that again with Anne Rice now. So I found out that she began her writing career. This was actually her first book. So it was from 1976, which I thought that was really interesting. And it's actually part of a series. I did not realize that there's 13 books in the series. It's the Vampire Chronicles.
Wow.
Yes. So that I did not know. She has a lot of series. There's so many books out there by her. She has 2 children. So her son Christopher is also an author, but she had a daughter who she actually lost at the age of 5 due to leukemia.
Aww.
So the reason I find this interesting is that in the book, Interview with the Vampire, if you've seen the movie, you might remember the character Claudia, who was played by Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
And she was about 11 years old, I think, in the movie. So as I was reading the book, it kept bothering me because I'm like, why does she seem so young in the book? In the book, she's 5.
Okay.
And so now knowing that she lost her daughter at the age of 5, you start thinking like maybe there's some sort of a connection, right? So she also lost her husband. She was married for 41 years, and she lost him to brain cancer. But upon researching a little bit about her, I found out that this book was actually part of her grieving process, I guess. So because she was born in New Orleans, and she also returned there, and the book actually starts in New Orleans, so that's like a big part of it as well. So if you really pay attention to it, you can really see a lot of this like loneliness and grief that I mentioned. So I know we can always find strings to connect things if we want to, but there was actually a lot of articles that kind of discuss this and some interviews with her. And I don't know, I found that really, really interesting. And she also has a nonfiction book that's out there, if anyone was interested, that actually explores like her relationship with God, because she had a big crisis of faith, and I think she even like left the church at one point and kind of came back to it. And I think some of that kind of falls into this as well, like kind of her like therapeutic working through everything. So that was super interesting. But here is my fun fact about her. Not to be all, dark, but her real name is Howard.
Oh.
Yes. I thought this was fascinating. So I found a quote from her that says, my mom was a bit of a bohemian, and she thought naming a woman Howard was going to give the woman an unusual advantage in the world.
Interesting.
I thought that was fascinating. And I'm like, that is so random. And Howard is actually a family name as well. So that's like, it wasn't like she just picked a name out of the air. Like there was actually a reason for choosing the name Howard. But I just thought that was really interesting. So she does write a lot. If you've never read her before and you're interested, a lot of gothic vampire fiction, but also, like I said, religious theme books, including that memoir. She really is a good writer. I think, in a way, there's sections that almost lean toward literary fiction, which can be hard for some people, but she just creates, like, such an interesting scenery. Like, it's so, I don't know, it's just intriguing. It's really intriguing. And I did do a small comparison here, too, because I know you guys have heard me talk about Twilight before.
So and just how much she loves it.
Yes. So just as an example, when Rice is kind of talking about one of her vampires, the description is 2 brilliant green eyes that look down at the boy intently like flames in a skull. And then Meyer, in this long paragraph where she's talking about her vampires, it kind of comes down to the fact that all their features were straight, perfect, angular. And it's just the difference to me of like how simple the one description is versus the other, really making it just seem so like dark.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really got to me, though, is because it's like when I read Twilight, I'm sitting here thinking, like, why are they out playing baseball and why are they sparkling in the sun? Whereas Rice's vampires, they have this, like, creepy theater. Like, this part, some of you might remember it from the movie if you've never read the book, but, like, the vampires kind of own this, like, theater. Mm-hmm. And so people come to the theater to see a show, and they're watching the show, and they're like, wow, these actors are amazing. This is so believable. When the reality is, the vampires have this poor woman on stage, and they doing what vampires do in front of a live audience, and the audience doesn't really... I mean, that's dark.
Yeah.
That's dark. And to me, like, that's what a vampire is.
See, I feel like those are vampires that like to have fun in very different ways.
They do.
So, Twilight vampires like to drink the blood of animals and play baseball in a field.
Yep.
Of roses.
So, I don't know. So, it was just... It was fun for me to go back and read it. So, I don't know. I do have a quick trivia for you, Sarah, while we are on the topic of vampires.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Who is the most popular vampire? You guys can play along at home, too.
What's that dude's name? Right. Okay.
As long as you don't say the name of a cereal.
Oh. Dracula.
Yes. Count Dracula. So the 1931 movie version was actually loosely based on real-life man Vlad the Impaler.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah, which I've heard that before. I remember reading something about that once before. Do you know what a group of vampires is called?
A cult.
No, it's a coven, which surprised me because I always think witches.
Same.
Yeah.
Wait, you know what? It's making me think, I know you don't like the series, but Breaking Dawn, I remember them going and listing different covens.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. They list different... You didn't make it that far.
No, I didn't.
So, but
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so when was the term vampire first added to the Oxford Dictionary? And I'll give you a couple options.
Okay.
1243, 1734, or 1921.
I'm definitely going to guess the 1734 one.
You're correct.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Look at that, guys. Put me on your trivia team. Actually, don't. I'll panic.
It's been in there a long time, though. I was like,
that is
shocked.
That's a really long time.
Okay, according to folk legend from the Balkans, which fruit may turn you into a vampire if you leave it out too long? A banana, a watermelon, or an apple?
An apple.
It's a watermelon.
What?
I know. I was like, that's weird. But it was too funny not to ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's
we don't have that
funny.
problem in my house because I eat too much fruit. So, no worries there. Okay, so enough about my Anne Rice. If you guys do want to talk about her, you can always come visit me. But Sarah, I thought because yours relates more to like book to screen. And so I thought maybe we could relate yours a little bit to one of my favorite TV shows.
Okay.
Which was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
Okay, so Buffy the Vampire Slayer was 7 seasons and 144 episodes. It began 5 years or so, I think, after the movie with Luke Perry and Kristy Swanson. Did you ever see that one? No. Super fun. I love it. But originally in the running for the part of Buffy. So Buffy, obviously the main character. We all know Sarah Michelle Gellar. She crushed it.
She did.
But originally running for that part, Katie Holmes and Selma Blair.
Interesting.
I know. I was shocked. And I thought it was interesting, too, because Selma Blair and Sarah Michelle Gellar actually become best friends in real life because they were in Cruel Intentions together. And they still are, like, part of each other's lives. So I thought that was kind of fun. And then if you guys know who Natasha Lyonne is, she was in, like, American Pie, The Russian Doll, all that kind of stuff. She's great. She was actually offered the role, but she declined because she was only 16 and said she couldn't commit to a TV show at the age of 16.
I respect that.
I do too. Okay, but here's the crazy one. Do you know who the character Xander is? Did you ever watch the show at all?
A few episodes.
Okay, so there was like the 3 friends and the one was the boy.
Yes.
Okay, so that's Xander. Originally auditioned for the role Ryan Reynolds and Danny Strong from Gilmore Girls. So if you guys don't know who Danny Strong is, you can look him up. You'll probably recognize him as soon as you see him. Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds?
I know.
I couldn't imagine.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So tell me stuff about your book that became...
Okay. So this book actually became a movie first.
Okay.
And I do have some, it's been adapted twice. So the movie was in 2014, and the movie stayed very true to the book, and the author actually was a part of it, with like the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
The movie ended up flopping, like hardcore. And I remember turning it on, and I think I made it like 15 minutes into it, and I was like, I can't. I was like, this is awful. Like, I don't know what it was. It had almost that, like, too teeny boppy, like,
okay,
kind of feel to it. Like, I imagined it a lot more, almost like, kind of like the same little vibes as, like, Harry Potter, but with, like, more humor in it kind of thing. And definitely more, like, here, because it's set in America. But now there actually is a TV show on Peacock, which is a streaming service. And shout out to my parents. They have it, so I'm logged into it, of course. And I was like, oh, I want to check it out. The author had no part in it.
okay.
She just knew that it was going to be a show. I made it 10 minutes in. Whoo, it is rated M for mature.
That's interesting because it's a teen series.
It is, and in the series, it's not that, like, they definitely have like crude jokes a little bit and stuff like that, but typical teenager stuff.
I wonder if they were trying to appeal again to like their original readers.
Yeah.
Like if you think about maybe when it was published, but now
Right.
you guys have grown up, so you're
Right.
looking for some. Yeah.
Well, and like, which I'm debating whether or not I want to continue with it, give it like a first shot with the first
Sure.
episode. But it just seems like it's really based off of the book, but the timeline is different. Because like one of the main characters, like when you start the book, like her family's dead, but now in this show, the first episode, her family's alive. So I'm very curious if this is like before everything happens. So I think I may try to finish the first episode just to see how it goes.
Okay.
But it was some shocking things.
Yeah.
And I was like, that doesn't happen in the book. Okay. So yeah.
Is there anybody in it that we would recognize?
No.
No. Okay.
Not a single person. At least I don't recognize them in the show. In the movie, yes, but I don't know any of their names. I'm not very good with names.
Okay.
So, of famous people.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, did you have any other little facts or tidbits or anything?
You should totally read, if you like vampires, totally read the series.
Okay.
Give it a shot. Yeah.
I might almost be curious just to compare.
Yeah. I'll tell you the series that I was getting confused with. The other series is the House of Night series, which is also in the young adult section in the library. So I was mixing up those two in my head. Yeah. So I think I was taking my favorite elements and just putting them together.
It's so funny you've done some sort of like super mashup of like all of your all your vampire books.
Yeah, because there's that Vampire Diaries, which was made into a killer show.
That one was on for a long time.
Yeah, like 8 seasons.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one. And that's probably my favorite, like, adaptation from book to the screen.
Okay.
Even though it didn't follow the books. And it goes way longer than the books did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See, and Buffy would have been mine. We didn't watch it until it was probably, like, early 2000s, I think.
Okay.
So, like, we were sort of, like, late to the party.
Yeah.
When we finally got on the Buffy train. But I remember borrowing the DVDs from a coworker at the time. He would bring me, like, one season, and every night we'd watch, like, one episode. And then I'd be like, I'm at the end. And I'd bring him back that season and give me the next one. Because, you know, we didn't have streaming services back then. Like, I think this might have been before Netflix even.
And when Netflix started, you had to order it through the mail.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, like, this was, like, kind of a big deal to have a friend who had the whole season. And so that's how my husband and I originally watched it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And it really was fun. And the writer was, oh my goodness, Joss Whedon, who, if you're familiar with some of his work, he is very much a dialogue person, which is like one of the reasons I love Gilmore Girls and Marvelous Miss Maisel, because the creator of those two shows, same thing. She is very much a dialogue person. And to act on these shows, you have to be quick and snappy, and and so it just makes it so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, this was surprisingly fun.
It really was.
I really appreciate you rereading, because I know how hard that is. Like, there's so many great books out there, and to say like, yeah, I guess I'll take a break from my list and I'll reread something even though I already know what's going to happen. And I don't know. So I just appreciate that you were willing to try.
Yeah.
That's cool. So speaking of reading, Sarah, what are you reading now?
Ooh, okay. So I'm reading a book. Shocker. It's called Happy People Are Annoying by Josh Peck.
Wait, am I annoying?
No.
Okay.
No, because I'm a happy person too.
Okay.
So it's like a memoir, biography. I don't know how you want to classify it. I'm really enjoying it.
Okay.
Really, I grew up on Drake and Josh with the Amanda Show. That Josh Peck, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I've never seen it, but I'm familiar with the name.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm really enjoying it though. It's fun.
Okay. Is it more like a memoir or a self-help?
Memoir.
Memoir? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what about you?
I am reading The Mostly True Story of Tanner and Louise by Colleen Oakley.
Ooh.
Found it by accident. Thought the cover was kind of funny. And I tried not... So when you're currently reading something, you don't want to read too many of the reviews.
Right.
But I accidentally, when I was scrolling through Goodreads, I accidentally saw somebody compared it like Thelma and Louise meets Driving Miss Daisy. And it is sort of how it feels, because you have a 80-something-year-old that ends up with a 20-something-year-old. And all of a sudden you find out that the 80-something-year-old's life that you assumed is not actually her reality. And so now they're like on the run. And so it's like, how far will you go for somebody that you don't really know, and your safety and all that kind of stuff. But like, it's very humorous too. And so like, I don't know, it's kind of cute so far. I'm curious how it's going to end.
I like that.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Cool.
It's a lighter read. So, which, we all need that sometimes.
Yeah.
So, cool.
All right. Well, do you guys have any thoughts about vampire characters in books or movies? Like, we would love to hear what you have to say. And if you have read either one of those books, like, let us know. Or even other ones, we'd love to hear it. You can email us at themulberrylibrary@gmail.com and share it with us.
Love it. All right. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Happy reading, Mulberry.